Hi everyone, my name is Rhonda Starling. I'm an author. I have written 4 books and I desire to help writers, inspiring writers who desire to write a book, become an author, teach them ways on how to market their books as well as to become their own boss. So I'll be coming from my book, Who Wants to Be an Author. This is one of my books. I'm gonna call it the Little Black Book. I made it simple for readers can read as well as get an understanding. And I just wanted to make it really simple for someone who's desiring to write a book and just don't know where to start. I share little marketing tips and just things that I have used that helped me to write 4 books. And then I also have another book which is called Bittersweet, A Single Woman's Guide to Being Happy and Whole Again. This is just teaching women on how they can become whole, how they can become happy with their life and where they currently are in their current season. I share like journal entries where you can write down like your thoughts and what season you're in, what you're going through. So that way you can always have something to look back and see how far you've come. I also have affirmations as well as prayers that you can pray over yourself and for your family. And then my latest book that I have out, which is Bitter Too Sweet, A Single Woman's Guide to Becoming Whole so that you can attract better. This book, I share more so content on just different things that work for me on how to become better, because I believe you are what you attract. And when you become better, you will attract better. So the title of my message that I wanted to come with you today is 5 things every inspiring writer must know when writing a self-help book. And I wanted to, it's so many aspects to writing like a self-help book, because you can write a self-help book based on your personal life, a hobby, or anything of interest. But I want to talk about something that I specialize in, and that's writing self-help books based on your personal experience about your life, because I've had people to reach out to me and ask me questions about how they can write a self-help book and write a book about sharing their story. So I just wanted to make this something simple, because again, writing a book is not hard. It's just being able to take the time to write down your messages, putting together your chapters, and just formatting your book. So a few things, if I'm looking to the side, I'm just looking at some of my notes that I've written down. So what is a self-help? A self-help book is a novel where you basically sharing content on helping someone. Pretty much a self-help book, you're answering the question. Your self-help book is the answer to someone else's question. So when someone pick up your book, if you're talking about finances, they want to be able to read your self-help book about finances and gain an understanding. When you're writing a book, your book should be so clear that the reader that are reading it get a clear understanding. You don't want to write a book and somebody is so confused that they didn't understand what they read. You want something that's a good read, that's going to have folks talking, and it's going to be keeping people engaged. And that's why in my book, I put a journal in there, because I want people to be engaged. I want them to be learning the content and writing down what they're learning. So that's a way how you can keep your readers engaged. So that's my definition on what a self-help book is. So self-help books can be based on your experience. So one of the things why I like self-help books, because I look at it like a growth, especially when you're talking about your own personal experience, because growth to me is being able to have went through something and then going back to teach other people not to go through those same things. So just a little thing I like to share. So I got this whole thing of the 5 W's, the who, what, when, and where. So this is the 5 things where I like to say every inspiring writer should know when writing their self-help books. So who? Again, this is very important. Always know your target audience. Who are you speaking to? Because at the end of the day, you're not called to everyone. And when you understand who your target audience are, you're able to be more creative. You're able to put out relevant information to those you're called to. Because when you're trying to reach a whole group of people, you're going to be all over the place, because everybody's different. And you got to know who you're called to, because if you're speaking and writing books and you're trying to reach a certain crowd and that's not your tribe, And when they reject you, you're going to feel some type of way and like, why am I not getting my books out there? Because you're speaking to the wrong people. So when you know who your target audience are, you know how to speak to them. You know what type of content to put out. So if you're speaking to teenagers, you're going to know what certain things that are appropriate for a teenager to put in books. It's exactly same way with an adult. You're going to know like what type of content to put out, whether it's for women or men or for both. So knowing your target audience is very important. So that is the who. So now what? What is your solution? So again, as I stated in the beginning, your book, your self-help book is the answer to someone else's question. So if you're writing a self-help book, a reader wants to know, why should I read your book, as far as what can I gain an understanding? How can you help me in this area? So adding your personal experience. So I like to, in my self-help books, add my personal experience to my books, because this gives readers a way to kind of relate. I make it relatable, because most of the times when you're writing a self-help book and you're talking about your story and you're speaking on certain things, people want to know what qualifies you to speak on these things. So you want to make it personal, share your experience so people can relate, because you never know how your story, your situation on what you've been through can help someone else. So always when you're writing your books, you want to make it relatable and just share your personal experience, what you've been through, even if it's painful and you just feel like nobody's going to care. You just never know how your story can affect someone else. So make it relatable. And also, when. So who, what, when, and where. When. When can I expect results? So let's be honest. When people read self-help books, they want to know, when can they expect results. So give an example. I am so obsessed with skincare. Like, I love looking up different products when a celebrity or just somebody put out like a skincare products. I like to look at the ingredients, see what's in there. I want to see if it's going to work. So as soon as they put the products out and I look at videos of people who's in there use it, my first reaction is, when is it going to work? Like, how long am I going to, once I buy this product, that I'm going to expect results? So in the same way, if you're putting out self-help books teaching people about finances and tips and methods that you use, people are going to want to expect results. So the same message that you're putting out, when can they expect a turnaround? So that's something you may want to include in your book, a turnaround. You know, some things come with time. Patience is key. But, you know, you got to be able to put in your book, when can I expect results? So where? Okay, here's another thing. I will factor that into marketing. So where can we purchase your products or your services? So if you're talking about a self-help book, sometimes you could have own a business and you've written a self-help book teaching people about your products. So where can we purchase your products? And a lot of times I hear people say they've written a book and you can't even find them on social media. Like, are you out there? Can someone type in your name and say, hey, they see Rhonda Sterling? You want to make sure you are putting yourself out there. When you're writing a book, you want to put yourself out there so you can still build your audience. And you want to make sure people are able to reach you. Make sure you are reachable. You want to be on all social media platforms. And you want to, I would say, blog. If you haven't started, put out some blogs and just write about things. Make sure you're just putting yourself out there and letting people know what service and products that you offer. And last but not least is your why. Your why. So when you're writing your book, your self-help book, just always remember, there are thousands, millions of people who have probably written the same story similar to you, but your story is different. So in a way, you want to make your book so juicy, so great, that people want to read your book. So my question to you, when you're writing your book, why should I purchase your book? So you want to put your content. That's why I say sharing your story, because everyone's story is different. But you want to make it an interesting read so that people can read it. So why should someone purchase your book? You just want to make it so interesting that why should I purchase your book versus going to purchase Rick Ross or Stormy Wellington book, which is some great reads, by the way. But you want to stand out. You want your book to be different. You want to have a clear and understanding content that you're putting out there that people can just relate to. You want to make it relatable. You want to make it different. And one of my things is when it comes to the titles of my book, I like it to be catchy. So when someone's reading it or they run across it, it's so catchy that like the title of it kind of throw them off and make them think it's one way. But when they start reading it, it was like, oh, wow, I didn't expect that. So I kind of like to give it a little flip to it and just make it interesting. So a part of what makes you stand out, the colors on your books, the message that you're putting out there. Are you being clear with what you're stating? And also, too, you can always ask people around you, kind of share like, hey, what do you think about this? But share it with people who you can trust, because you don't want to put your book out there and tell your information to the wrong person. But overall, you just want to be relatable to people. So these are my things that I think every inspiring writer should know when writing a self-help book. Again, it's not hard, but what makes the overall experience so amazing is just you sharing your story and putting yourself out there. Because again, someone said your story is not your story, it's for someone else. So you just don't know how your story can be a blessing to someone else, and what you've been through and what you have went through is a testimony for someone else to be able to let them know, hey, this is what I've been through, and this is how I overcame, and you can too. So I hope this helped you in any type of way. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. I'm also going to put my email below, so if you are someone who's desiring to write a book and you don't know where to start, you can reach out to me. I would love to help you. And I just hope you have a blessed day.